However, if you are a sane person who wants the sharpest video humanly, next. Just like with the N64, the Wii has a baked-in quote-unquote flicker filter. This was meant to cut down on aliasing and soften edges, giving the Wii's video output a smoother, more high-res look. And when it's viewed on a CRT, whether or not this filter actually looks good is a matter of subjectivity. But I can tell you objectively, when upscaling the Wii's video output on a 4K TV, this filter ends up destroying the picture. But don't worry, we do have a way to salvage this. And a big shout out to Wobbling Pixels on YouTube for this info, because I had no idea this was even a thing, but apparently you can disable the anti-flicker filter with the latest version of USB Loader GX, which is what I use to play disk images on my Wii anyway, so let's give it a shot.
This episode of Baby, This is Kiki Palmer is sponsored by the good old folks over at Airbnb, because some trips are better than Airbnb. Alright y'all, let's get into it.
It's like, Mom, what you doing today? Come with me here. Let's do this. Like, he still wants me around, and that means a lot of kids that don't.
La Anthony.
And I have to admit, at first I didn't really notice a difference. All of the text and 2D stuff was just as soft as it was before, but as soon as I loaded up the save, holy hell, what a difference this makes. I am in territory. It's incredible how much sharper and clearer the picture is. When I found out this filter filter is so powerful, it actually gets really good. It's not it's all which is section which is fitting because the components I really get those experience with using a Chrome trigger it's just logo on a desktop. Countless fan translations and overly expensive PS1 mobile games dedication. I exclusively use FPGA-based hardware application like SNES, Genesis, they received it in PC Engine, frustrating to sit. Yes, I prefer the accuracy of real hardware most of the time, but recently it's getting really hard to justify that. Just to prove my own theory in the previous section, I downloaded the GameCube emulator I've used off and on for about as long as I can remember. And I was just blown away at how easy of a process it was to get it unpacked and installed and how it came up and running. I essentially just downloaded it, unpacked its contents, opened the .exe, and pointed the thing in a disk image of art remake, and I was off to the races. Probably the longest part of the process was setting up my DualSense controller over Bluetooth, and that might have lasted me maybe a month. Of course, you can't make it long. The box, you can play with your the ability to upscale the stack video and just stick with the 6x scale and the whole thing. If you really want to, if your hardware can handle it, you can pick up a massive internal render resolution and the emulator will just zoom it down to whatever your hardware's base resolution is. It's incredible. But in my opinion, 4K is it just exactly screwed with it. It's as sharp as it can. Some of you with a keen eye may have noticed that certain areas look not too sharp. Just as partly explained why I started doing real hardware captures in my video. It's like this, don't upscale images the same way the screen scale. Similar to how PC gaming, certain parts of the image are processed differently. others. So for example, I can apply anti-aliasing to the image here, and it does nothing with the 2D elements on screen, like the backgrounds and text, because those are altered separately. And yes, I get why that sounds like a good idea, but look at the results. Default settings using 4K output, this is what you'll get with 2D assets. I think we can all agree this is way too damn blurry. Forcing a nearest neighbor texture filter, things come out way too damn sharp. With your more traditional video scaler and images fed in and output as a similarly high res but uniformly scaled one, meaning everything on screen gets scaled via the same process, and as such, the resulting picture has a kind of visual cohesion to it. The Dolphin emulator, by comparison, has incredibly sharp alias 2D assets that clash heavily with the ultra-smooth 3D ones. It's almost like the two elements are coming from absolutely different places. That's because, as far as the emulator is concerned, they are. This effect is shown really well here with Wesker. His face, hair, and skin all have smooth edges with no stair-stepping to be found. Look at the texture of his clothes, radio, and stars match. They look like they're from a PS1 game. And I'm not even saying I don't like the way this looks. It's a really love seeing. I want my whole image either looking very sharp or very smooth. Not both approaches coexisting with simplistic visualization without real hardware scale and emulation different methods. Figuring out what I like, I settled on 4K output with 16x multi-sampling the aliasing. Although playing GameCube games of this higher resolution is honestly not even necessary. Besides, the smoothing of the 3D graphics filtering, I want to go ahead with this paper anyways. With any setting other than that, and his errors and artifacting in 2D, which can be best in the image on the screen. This is all around these things as much as I used to when I started my channel. I'm upscaling old console footage, and I see something strange, like the bitmap errors in Code Veronica X on PS2, mistake or purposeful feature. I know it's a part of the actual game. I wonder if it's the game, my emulator, my settings, or even the back-end resolution I'm using. You make your living describing video stuff to people, you make your life insanely complicated. Pretty interesting side note, I had always thought that noisy picture on the GameCube original was just a side effect of the console. Maybe some back capacitors or just inherent video noise. But seeing the same noise via emulation was kind of cool. Sadly, I wasn't able to find any other interesting visual quirks other than the shadow maps that are really awful at this resolution. Outside of my obsession with presentation, though, as far as gameplay goes, there are no trade-offs that I could find. I was able to use my PS5 DualSense controller, and playing this game with a D-pad is worth half a damn. It's pretty amazing. It's still outputs 30 frames per second, and I can't really find any fan-made hacks or patches letting it hit 60, but you will get the skill file has
you could definitely do that.
Don't you worry. And just like my conclusion with the Wii port, I really can't think of any reason someone shouldn't play Remake on an emulator. The process is so dead simple, literally anyone can do it. You also get benefits like save states, upload video filters, and theoretically being able to use any controller you want. I definitely wouldn't prefer my 2D and 3D graphics looking so wildly different. It's free. Counting price hikes and recommendations. It's fine. So yeah, obviously immersion is a great way to play most video games, and if I don't use this future video, especially we could take it as well. To be totally honest, I'm still not sure what spurred this on, but in 2015, seeing the have confidence building this rest of the making the sounding titles I've ever heard before. The Rusted remake. Afterwards of any, you got yourself a solid contender for a dope-ass 70s Hong Kong action title. This remaster was announced for the major consoles of the day, that being the Xbox One and PS4, but it also hit PS3s, 360s, and PC. I have no doubt each one of these is going to have quirks you with their hardware, but for the most part, they all offer the same experience, so I'm not going to spend an hour on each one of these. I probably won't cover every single port, but we will talk about some interesting stuff, I promise. Speaking of interesting, water through every flow.
Let's look at this one.
Standardized process is going to
See, do I kill this nigga? This nigga be dodging. I'm dead, don't even know. Oh, shit. I thought I heard something. You could do me a favor and look up the code for this. Resident Evil 3. Oh, you saw a nigga open the door? At least, so does it look like this? Let me see your screen. Yeah, that should be it. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's it. Send me a screenshot of that.
Gotta keep in mind, camera and glasses are present for a reason. Outside of the obvious technical photography, that angle is obviously uncomfortable. We'll get this shots that give you the impression sometimes one sequence where all the tracing is going down to the Spencer. Camera angles are effective. It's a really effective trick, one that often separates RE from the type of game intended from the series. So you take those angles, cut off about 40% of the vertical viewing space, change the placement, and the effect can be diminished at best, ruined at worst. So if you can help it, don't use widescreen mode. On the plus side, Capcom would eventually learn from their mistakes and give us some really high quality upscale from the RE0 remaster, which does make widescreen a much more viable option there. But here in RE1, it's best to leave things the way they were originally designed. And on the polar opposite side of that spectrum, 3D models here received a more traditional remaster treatment, and that means straight up res, along with replacing some of the low-res 2D elements that stood out so hard in emulation. On top of that, a few characters' faces have been redrawn, and some more convincing animations were added to them as well. If you ask me, though, one of the more interesting aspects of this remastered development are the pre-rendered animated elements. All of the video files that played in the background of the original were already really assigned more resolution, high compression. Now, have access to so the solution was to place any animated elements by about this online seems to be all over. How complicated the description is, but if you go by comment section and forum posts, people seem to be underneath Right, and all of the animated images were replaced with 3D, but I found plenty of places where that's just not the case. Like here on the way to Lucy Trevor's cabin, they kept the original waterfall animation, switched off, and here the animated shadows are still pre-rendered, but the fire's been replaced with 3D. It's a mix all over the place, but the only constants I've been able to find are grass, trees, and light sources. On the plus side, it's done in a way that would probably be hard for a person to detect, but on the more negative side, there is a lot of animations I found from new elements.
We need to reach Fox Park Station.
Can you tell me how to do this, baby?
Hey, I'm a super cop. Consider it.
Puzzle. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Resident Evil 3. Kite Bros. Railway. Puzzle.
One that's going to let you use a more typical style of third-person controls, meaning they're locked to the camera's perspective as opposed to the characters. Like you might imagine, it feels really alien in a classic Resident Evil game. People are naturally fast, and there's no longer a need for great performance. You can basically have a direction much quicker just by pressing the M bar stick when you're looking. I can't help but feel like this breaks the video into order of the plus side, I can't do very often. Set the number for the traction around the analog sticks. You can still use the better option of keypad if you want to.
The subway station, positive puzzle, and
what I would call a reasonably serviceable
and solve the puzzle. You need to find the red, green, and
some part of poorly upscale backgrounds, but I do like your
I did that. Let me
isn't gonna mind that all too much. Getting to see this game.
Let me see is that a video?
Is really awesome. It's so awesome, in fact, that even when the job gets fumbled this bad, the end result can still be kind of great. And in the spirit of disproving that statement, I figured we could work our way backwards with the ports of the remaster, going from the least powerful platform to the most.
Thank you.
Stick, also.
Starting off at the bottom of the barrel, we have the port that none of you are going to play, so I don't know why I even bother with the PS3. This bad boy is locked in with accepted 1P.
Valid, confirmed.
Carlos, it's me.
Instead of incredibly upscaling units to 1080p, your console's just going to switch to 720 after the game is launched. Just like every other console port of the remaster, Resident Evil Remake on PS3 targets 30 frames per second. Now, it's important to mention that the original was a 30 FPS game, and I did used to be the guy who said 60 FPS wasn't necessary.
Carlos, I finished putting stuff with me.
Jill, you are amazing. Tough as nails, too.
60 FPS is possible.
Valid.
I would say I might have been wrong.
and to the next station.
It doesn't really matter though, because like I said, you can do that frame rate on the console port.
Oh,
Having the remaster run exactly like the original is not the worst thing in the world. As far as actually playing the game goes, this is just already one off. Aside from
Confirmed.
Carlos,
please.
I finished
putting stuff with me.
Jill, you are amazing. Tough as nails, too. Hurry back to the station. We'll make sure the subway's ready to depart.
alright, how do I...
Yeah. This is the PS3 we're talking about, so you probably should have seen this coming. But this target I mentioned earlier is more like a soft 25 inch. Sometimes you'll be able to lock in 30, but most of the time it's bouncing.
Subway station, yeah.
The subway Howard substation, is that where you're at now?
Yeah.
Back to the subway office and point out any station.
The first one, sort of marks the words HD added three things on top of copy subpressing. Hopefully high contrast level, filtering less time, and supports light sources along the C16.
Let's see.
levels across all the consoles we covered today. On PS3, that really high contrast.
They just keep showing me how to solve it. And
I had to back out and check
Gucci, baby, it's Gucci. I'll figure it out. It's somewhere.
This thing is dumb. At first, I kind of figured this was just going to be a spirit of badly upscaled pre-rendered backgrounds, but that's a good more to see on the subject of this issue. Maybe it's just a PS3. You can say this is a very poor showing as far as words go.
Smoke up, baby. Let me get to this thing and then I got you.
This thing has
Fuck.
like that it's performance, so that it stretches limited resources across two use cases. Essentially, a console with portability at home use but optimized for IO. But all that being said, this right here is where the system is going. So its limited resources make it a modern issue, but old PS2 era remasters where it shows
Resident Evil 3, how to get to the train station.
there are examples of this kind of behavior, but here we can firmly place the check in the W category.
Shit.
This board maintains the console version of their DS, but on the plus side, it's a much more high-resolution image than what can be found on PS3, which is kind of surprising because if you didn't already know this, Switch games more often than not will use a 720p base resolution that it then internally upscales and outputs as 1080p, but that doesn't seem to be going on here. Looking at the PS3 and Switch side by side, it's pretty clear this is a 720p image. I don't want to rush to assume it's a 1080p picture because that's not exactly something that's common on the system.
Did he tell you how much is the shirt?
Nah, he hasn't told me yet.
Whatever it is, though,
I'm
there's
assuming
like
it's
that.
this.
Control-wise, you can obviously use the switches to but I found it that on Pro Controller to be nice and responsive. It's sort of clicky and forgiving when it's perfectly holding the direction. The performance here is definitely much better than the PS3 port, but it's not exactly 130 either. Most of the time, it seems to go down. PS3 also shows signs of frame stuff here on the Switch. The 3 definitely doesn't come close. It's sort of interesting to see that the performance issue is likely not due to the platform, but probably some shoddy optimization of Capcom's end. Speaking about stuff sort of tangentially related to performance, I noticed something really unusual here. You know those world-famous Resident Evil door opening animations? The ones that are there to press the console open in the next area? Although times are so bad here on Switch that these animations no longer perform their job. We're left with a pretty significant amount of time to look at the black screen after these things without playing in some situations. I really do mean significant. It's a little bit more out there. But still be fun to explore, fun to discover. It's really fresh.
Energize 3-in-1 child shoe is the world's first oil-lithium battery that's going to be everything.
While it's not an overtime like we do, probably like I'm not going to say that it goes with the contrast levels in this video. With the picture, actually makes some of the lesser quality backgrounds There's still a bad, but it doesn't look like someone trying to cover up on it. It's like a PS3 port, basically every port this version is slight but it's really good though, is that the leak out behind that other box. It tells me it's not some kind of a hard crop for the industry, but instead just where the pre-rendered background's in. That being the case, I imagine if you're looking hard enough, you'll probably find a few examples of this happening. And lastly, there are these dumb local achievements that pop up here on Switch. They're not terribly annoying, but I imagine someone playing the game for the first time might get dragged out of the atmosphere if one of these pops up at the right moment. Also, I can't find an option to turn them off in-game. I'm sure there's some kind of setting on the Switch, but I just wasn't able to find it. Other than that, though, I'd say this is a killer way to play the RE1 remaster. Sure, the performance and presentation isn't exactly perfect, but the amount of trade-offs number far less than the upsides. And on the plus side, I found the Switch's built-in screen and portable mode to be one of the only occasions where I'd recommend forcing the 16:9 setting. It's certainly small enough, and you'll probably be far enough away from it that a lot of the quality issues may not even be noticeable. So in what's becoming a worrying trend on the channel, I've got to give the Switch port a pretty hearty recommendation. Honestly, if this happens again, I'm just going to lie and say it's bad, so enjoy the punch like fans, Switch fans. The Xbox One and PS4 ports of RE Remake were sort of the de facto versions of the game, seeing as how these consoles were the heavy hitters of its day. We're looking at the PS4 release right now, which targets a frame rate of 30 FPS, but making up for that, we have an internal native 1080p image. As far as features go, there really isn't anything here that can't be found on any other port, so to keep me and you from being bored out of our collective minds, I found some small visual quirks to hyper-focus on. For example, I noticed the CG cutscenes have significant artifacting in certain dark shaded areas. I had to go back and make sure, but this isn't happening in any other port. It's kind of weird to see a bug like this affecting a pre-rendered cutscene. There's no reason these cutscenes should be coded in any different way than any other version we've looked at, so I don't know, it's kind of weird. This might be connected or it might not be, but I also found that the film grain in this port was way easier to notice. It might just be a brightness difference, but in some areas it's way too strong. The same issue with the light sources moving past the boundaries of the pre-rendered backgrounds can be found here.
See, look, I did this giant.
Struggled with keeping a perfect ceiling inside very often, but there were areas where I found some visible raindrops. I played up
Nice
until the
job,
dark
Super
house.
Cop. I'm impressed.
We back in
Twice,
business?
so I'd say it's not
Yeah,
a priority.
mostly. But we need 30 to 40
Tell you
minutes to
the
finish
truth,
maintenance.
there really wasn't a whole lot else going on. Other than
Nikolai.
gasifying the wood.
How we doing?
Luckily, though,
Down's rolling
You give me a live view?
No chance of
Live?
finding a way out of the city.
Yeah.
Why is she here?
Throw it.
Trains running again.
Had time to start getting dead weight. She's unreliable. Guess we'll trigger the counts.
Hey, take it easy.
On our PS5,
She'll get you killed.
There's not much else to say here. You've got that same console 30 FPS lock.
Sorry.
Picture.
Everyone's a little worked up.
From the upscale to 4K.
Oh, come on.
Relatively soft
Not
upscale.
again.
It's me he's after.
Hey,
I'll buy you some time.
hey, wait! Wait, still! No!
Come on! Ah!
Oh, shit.
PS4 version is technically so it's this PC port allows for at least 4K output and otherwise, this is the hard to say second. Stop this concept. But we will try to bring it back. Just after I found out it will help by walking sold by a developer that is quite so low, although the blueprint does also existed. I started thinking about people that are specifically for footage for this video a while ago. I was able to capture a bit, but that was also the day I started studying film art. Finally, the project sort of fell by the wayside for a week. I just I'm like, be grateful. And since I'm coming out, it was not no stranger to see people working on these animations who went so I went straight into the
Carlos, do you copy? Carlos!
These are box standard and a lot of its assets having certain features that the player turned on again, it's not important.
There's that. Vortex. Worn when it counts. Outerwear for mountain athletes. Vortex.